If you don't have the power to change yourself, then nothing will change around you.
There is always something better out there if you're willing to work for it.
Unless you try to do something beyond what you have already mastered, you will never grow.
Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts.
A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step.
Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon stayed on the Billboard chart for 741 weeks. There's a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
We are like tea bags. We don't know our own strength until we're in hot water.
I love the man that can smile in trouble, that can gather strength from distress, and that can grow brave by reflection.
A wise man may look ridiculous in the company of fools.
If you feel threatened, every time a perceived rival does well, remind yourself of your own strengths and successes.
I stand on my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way.
Advertisers change people's thinking by using language which appeals to emotions.
Repeat anything often enough, and it will start to become you.
We should stop supporting the hunting of our endangered species.
Being happy means that you realize there are times that you will be unhappy and recognize that life sometimes stinks.
I have seen firsthand that being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are.
We're not perfect, but that doesn't mean we can lay some of our baggage on someone else.
If you have trouble talking to your parents, write them a letter and put it on their pillow. Parents love letters like this and will probably keep them forever.
Many businesses send future customers free gifts or samples in order to promote their products.
Adversity frequently gives one an opportunity to discover one's abilities.
Summarize the ideas you have been learning in one sentence. Doing this offers you a good baseline of understanding.
All the wealth of the world could not buy you a friend. It could not pay you for the loss of one either.
You know your children are growing up when they stop asking you where they came from and refuse to tell you where they're going. If all sides of a rectangle have the same length, we call it a square.
In order to change an existing paradigm, don't struggle to change it. Instead, create a new model and make the old one obsolete.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
A foolish man thinks himself wise, but a wise man considers himself foolish.
Before the game started, the instructor reminded us of a few simple rules.
Clear your mind of can't.
The website provides one-person households with easy cooking recipes.
Do not compare yourself with those above you.
The moment you blame anyone for anything, your relationships and your personal power deteriorate.
Eskimos use refrigerators to keep food from freezing.
It takes training to be able to distinguish a replica from an original work of art.
Many a movie or play owes its success to the supporting cast performances. Not wearing a hijab is a sin in Islam. Everything except the hands and face has to be covered.
To read critically means to read analytically, which means to question and to think about the written material in front of you.
That pollution will be getting worse is obvious.
Kids do best with a good caretaker. Whether that's a nanny, parent, or daycare doesn't really matter in the long run.
In the province of the mind, what one believes to be true either is true or becomes true.
Who built the pyramids is a question that has been asked for millennia.
Whatever does not destroy me makes me stronger.
Some books useful for students preparing for the competitive exams were procured in the school library.
A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship.
People who are often in a hurry imagine they are energetic, when in most cases they are simply inefficient.
Just like a convenience store, apps or websites that specialize in convenience are more popular.
Devoting some fraction of leisure time to continuing education could do much to raise the level of civilization.
Whoever has the device that is causing the interruption must silence it immediately.
Negative advertising in political campaigns isn't desirable. It creates the impression that all politicians are corrupt or incompetent or both.
It is difficult to do something creative when you are hungry or shaking from cold, because all of your energy has to be focused on getting what you lack.
It is absurd that a man should rule others who cannot rule himself.
With such mind-blowing scenes, it is no wonder why this 3D film was such a success.
It's no use wishing for the impossible.
We had fine weather, but before long it clouded over.
Has it happened that two heavenly bodies collided in space in any known galaxy in recent history?
It is necessary for people entering the laboratory to wear protective clothing.
If you dare to take the initiative in self-revelation, the other person is much more likely to reveal secrets to you.
Homemade meals can be healthy because they allow you to control the amount of salt and oils you use.
It is better to suffer wrong than to do it, and happier to be sometimes cheated than not to trust.
Recess should be a time for kids to have a break from the structure of a school day, to release energy on their own terms, and socialize with their friends.
Tipping is a way of expressing your satisfaction with the services. So it's polite of you to tip, but impolite of the staff to expect it.
Samuel Johnson said that the value of every story depends on its being true.
Processed foods cause younger people to have different sensations of taste from the older generation.
A more expensive tennis racket will not make it possible for you to be a better player.
Crying when you're sad or stressed out, rather than holding it back, will make it possible for you to be healthier.
Reading allows us to travel to times, places, and situations that we might not otherwise experience.
Little did the writer, the director, and the producer know that the drama would become a major success.
Among the things you can give and still keep are your word, a smile, and a grateful heart.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Don't choose to waste your life on guilt about the past or concern for the future.
In perfectly formal writing, you should avoid using so as a synonym for very.
There are times when we agree to do something simply because a loved one asks.
If you plan to go to an American university, you will need to learn how to write fairly well, for there will be many essay assignments.
We don't like to say no, and people don't like to hear it. However, we should not postpone delivering bad news, because a quick response is almost always appreciated in rejection.
Consider talking to a counselor if you are feeling depressed, anxious, or so preoccupied with a problem that you feel it is hard to enjoy life.
When the number of students per classroom rises beyond 30, teachers often admit struggling to maintain order, let alone pursuing the quality of instruction.
Life becomes infinitely easier when we remember to thank others for their acts of kindness.
Please remember staying at the Palm Beach Hotel, especially the high-quality service.
Don't forget to praise others when they need support.
Don't forget promising to get back home early in the evening.
We regret to inform you that the shipment will be delayed.
When offered a new opportunity or challenge, you are much less likely to regret saying yes and more likely to regret turning it down.
Stop using "I don't care how long I live" as an excuse for bad health habits.
When you try to combat stress with food, you'll want more and more and won't be able to control your eating.
If there's something you want to learn, try teaching it to someone else.
More people are realizing music videos can bring out the color of the singers and their songs.
If a thing of beauty needs additional interpretation by someone other than the creator, then I question whether it has fulfilled its purpose.
For more than a century, psychoanalysts have wondered if dreams are a reflection of upcoming realities.
People who can project themselves into the future can get the most out of their lives right now because they see where their lives are leading them.
People forget how fast you did a job, but they remember how well you did it.
Do what you can with what you've got where you are.
Choose whatever you like for the subject of your essay in the contest.
Motivation is important for good studying. When you are motivated, you will find it easy to stay focused over a period of time.
Few people think it possible that they may be mistaken.
People in Western countries considered it polite for men to kiss the hand of a lady.
In the early Roman Empire, the rich believed it natural to donate some of their fortune to society and look after the less privileged, which is called noblesse oblige nowadays.
Although keeping your aims to yourself helps ease the fear of failure, it also makes it easy to avoid changing your life and drift back into old habits and routines.
Make it a rule of life never to regret and never to look back. Regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it.
A famous saying has it that the winners of war write history.
Parents often blame themselves for the way their children behave.
Resist the temptation to tie yourself to exam scores. They are only feedback about progress, not a measure of knowledge.
When you meet a complete stranger at a party, the easiest way to break the ice is to introduce yourself and say how you know the host.
I recommend that you take care of the minutes, for the hours will take care of themselves.
No man is wise enough by himself.
Guests are encouraged to avail themselves of the full range of hotel facilities.
One thing my father left to me, and it was more valuable than a fortune.
What one has not experienced, one will never understand in print.
Those books which have made a lasting contribution to man's quest for truth, we call great books.
One of the functions of a college education is to enable the college graduate to read with understanding and appreciation articles and books which otherwise he could not so read.
Laboratory tools make easier the job of scientists and their experiments. Teens who are confident have a good sense of self and become happy adults.
Leadership is getting someone to do what they don't want to do, to achieve what they want to achieve.
Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work.
Until the patient recovers from the surgery, all you have to do is wait and see.
The trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism.
In a car accident, one of the questions the police ask is whether the driver was using a cell phone while driving.
The present is what slips by us while we're pondering the past and worrying about the future.
His calm determination won him the respect of his teammates, who elected him captain.
I consider this one of the most amazing and inspirational ads I have ever seen.
I always found him a sincere person who would stick by his word and always did his work.
Confronting your fears, paradoxically, makes you a far happier and more productive person.
The dish looked very healthy and fresh, probably because of the colorful vegetables.
Time is of the essence. Live as though life is short, because it is.
Success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives.
More often than not, the behavior that drives parents the most crazy is the identical behavior the parents had as children.
Studying in multiple locations has been proven to actually help the brain retain information.
It took me several days to read this book because I kept crying.
Diplomatic discussions were planned to persuade the rival nations to return to the negotiating table.
Experience is that marvelous thing that enables you to recognize a mistake when you make it again.
I heard the bell ring and saw everyone pour into the halls.
You cannot be mad at somebody who makes you laugh.
We can't help but have things go through our minds about others. We just need to be careful about saying much or accusing anyone.
It is necessary in science to have many people making many observations of the same phenomenon.
I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love.
Treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you help them become what they are capable of being.
Good leaders are like baseball umpires. They go practically unnoticed when doing their jobs right.
The mayor had the recent bank heist properly investigated by the police.
Disneyland does not sell chewing gum. Walt Disney did not want guests bothered by stepping on gum purchased in the park.
I had my account broken into, so I had to reset the password and regain access to my account.
A way to get things done more efficiently and get better results is to do the right thing at the right time of day.
The superstar kept her head hidden underneath her hat and a pair of sunglasses as she chatted on her mobile phone.
Work with this copy and leave the original untouched so that you can go back to it if you have any problems.
When the kitten saw her face reflected in the mirror, she immediately jumped on it.
In case you hear a kind word spoken about a friend, tell him or her so.